don't get to accuse me of anything. You don't get to talk to me like that. I don't need your help. I'm gonna pick up these needles alone.
What up? Story mud African time. So some time ago, I was a brand spanking new nurse, and I had found this per diem agency that I wanted to work with because it didn't take me too long to learn that when you do overtime, Uncle Sam takes all of your money. It's like you didn't even work overtime. It's like you did all of that overtime for about maybe 20 bucks. That shiitake mushrooms hurt my feelings. Anyways, so I picked up this shift with this per diem agency. It was my very first shift, very first time I got there, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't anybody tell me? They were expecting me to know what I'm doing. Why didn't anybody tell me that? So anyways, they were expecting me to know what I am doing. So when I got there, the charge nurse was like, hey, here's a resource. This is the person that you can go to ask questions to figure out what everything is. Here are your patients. Go get report. I was like, oh my God. So I went and got report, and I did spend a lot of time asking that resource nurse, whom we can call no, we're not gonna call her Sharon. We're gonna call her Sharon. That's what we're gonna call her. We're gonna call her Sharon. So Sharon was really cool. Showed me where the emergency equipment was, where the supply room was, where I can find the specimen supplies, all of them things, right? I got my little code to get into the Pyxis, to get the drugs, yada yada, da da da. And there was at one point during the night where I ended up having to go ask Sharon to show me how to print the label specific for specimens. It's different from like a patient's label. So she had to come into the patient's room with me, and we can call the patient Jacob. Jacob had his partner there. We can call Jacob's partner Mike. All right? Jacob and Mike. So I go out the room and I ask, hey Sharon, can you come in here real quick? She's at the nurse's station. She says, oh yeah, sure. Super bubbly, super giggly. She comes in there, and I was like, hey, I need to draw this lab, but I don't know what to do beyond that. Like, I know I have to print some sort of special label, yada, yada, yada. So as she's showing me everything, Jacob's partner Mike says, I think my mom is in the hospital. Now, his mother could have been in the hospital for a number of different reasons. It could have been a stubbed toe. It could have been a strep throat. It could have been a stomach ache. It could have been a heart attack. Literally anything. But in the grand scheme of things, if anybody tells you that a family member is in the hospital, your initial response typically isn't what Sharon did.
Oh my God, are you serious?
So Jacob looked at Sharon, squinted his eyes, and ignored the response, bless his heart, and responded to his partner Mike. And you know, they continued their conversation that didn't have anything to do with us. I didn't pry. I still wanted Sharon to show me how to print this damn specimen label. Sharon is cracking all kinds of jokes over there in that corner, and I'm sort of laughing, also sort of annoyed because she's taking too long to show me how to do something that I assumed was simple. I just want to send this blood to the lab. We finally get there. I print the label prints from the little machine in the back of the computer. Sharon leaves, and I offer a subtle and kind apology for her reaction. I was like, I'm new here, but the impression that I get from her is that, she approaches nursing with a humorous attitude. They took it very well. So I left out of there, and Sharon comes up to me, asks if I need anything else. I said no. And she's like, okay girl, cool. We're about 3 hours into the shift now, and I kind of feel like Sharon, her personality, even though I always thought that it was, when I say always, when I first met her, I initially was like, oh, she's bubbly, she's cool, she's nice. I kind of feel like she's getting more and more bubbly as the night shift goes on. Whatever. So fast forward, the way the medications are set up at this hospital, there was a separate place that you got narcotics. So you didn't get all of your medications in a Pyxis. I was a per diem nurse. And so because of that, I needed another nurse to pull the narcotics with me. Whatever. Of course, I reach out to Sharon. We're probably about maybe 6 hours into the shift now. Sharon comes over there and she's like,
"Ooh, you caught me at a good time, girl. I'm about to go on my break."
I said, "Okay, cool. Can you just help me pull this narcotic? I want to give my patient some pain medication." So she's talking, and she pulls the medication. I only needed one, and we're supposed to count together. We're supposed to waste together. She pulls out two and sets it up. And she's like,
"I just thought that maybe I should just pull the other one for my patient."
I didn't laugh. I didn't think that was funny. And she was like,
"Girl, I was just kidding. Oh my God."
And picks it up and tosses it back into the Pyxis. I was like, okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and waste this together, sign off on it together, and let's get out of here. So she goes on her break. The night continues progressing. Maybe about 45 minutes later, somebody said, the charge nurse was like,
"Have you seen Sharon?"
Last I heard, she was going on her lunch.
Yeah, she went on her lunch about 45 minutes ago. They're usually only 30 minutes.
I don't know, maybe she's combining her 15-minute break with her 30-minute lunch. I don't know. I'm just saying something. You know, like you feel like you have to say something when the other person continues talking after you already said you don't have the answer?
I don't know.
So she was like,
I don't know, maybe, but when you see her, can you tell her that I'm looking for her?
and I was like, yeah, absolutely, not a problem. Another 15 minutes go by. Someone else is looking for Sharon because one of her patients asked for pain medication. I don't know where she is. I don't know where Sharon is. Another 15 minutes go by. Sharon stumbles onto the floor. Just about as happy-go-lucky as one can be. And she was like,
"Hey y'all, I'm back. Y'all miss me?"
I was like, Sharon, your humor is great. It's beautiful, but it might be a little misplaced. You've been gone for about an hour and 15 minutes. And she was like,
"It's fine. It's night shift. It wasn't like anything is happening."
and I was like, girl, don't say that. We still got, a solid several hours of this shift to go. You can't be spitting stuff like that. You knock on wood. She laughed it off. I told her the charge nurse was looking for her. She goes to the charge nurse. I don't know what they discuss. She comes back, sits next to me, and she's like,
The charge nurse has something up her behind.
and I wanted to be like, nope, Sharon, it's you. It's you. You might be the problem. So just a couple more hours go by. Now we're teetering towards the end of my shift. I'm getting tired. I feel like I gotta take laps. All of my patients are asleep. Nobody's complaining of pain. One of my patients does need her bag of fluids replenished. So I go to the medication room, I get my little normal saline liter bag, and I step out. And as I'm stepping out, the charge nurse is across the nurse's station saying, "Hey, Ashley, quick question." And I knew she was just gonna ask me a couple of updates about each of my patients, because that's what the charge nurse does towards the end of the shift. And I said, "Hey, yeah, I'm coming. I'll be right over there." And I turn to my left and I bump into Sharon. And as I bump into Sharon, a bunch of needles fall out of her pocket. And so the charge nurse was like, "Oh," and she comes over to try to offer assistance. And so now we're all standing there, humor gone. Sharon is not cracking any jokes, and we're all just staring at the obviously used needles on the floor. And suddenly, everything was making sense. So the charge nurse, whom we have not named, we can call her Rebecca. Rebecca says,
What is that?
so then Sharon goes into overdrive, drops to the floor, picks them all up, and she's like,
I just don't always throw away my needles when I'm done using them on my patient.
I'm still standing there, mainly because I'm being nosy. And so the charge nurse, who we named Rebecca, I remembered. Rebecca was like,
You only have 3 patients. You do not need those many needles. Let's clean up the needles.
and so she's speaking in a calm tone, and Sharon loses her mind. Immediately starts going ballistic.
You don't get to accuse me of anything. You don't get to talk to me like that. I don't need your help. I'm gonna pick up these needles alone.
Sharon. So the charge nurse, Rebecca, was like,
Okay, I'm just offering help. I just give us a second, yada yada.
she's just speaking to her real calm. And then she looks at me and mouths for me to call security. And I'm like, dang, I'm just trying to hang this bag of normal saline for my patient. I'll tell you one thing, I'm wide awake. That whole I started feeling sleepy thing, gone. So I walk over to the little phone thing. I'm looking on that little cheat sheet that they gave me for my badge to figure out what the code for security is. It takes me too long. Sharon figures out what we're doing. She was like,
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
and then she starts coming at me like in an abrasive, very aggressive demeanor. And then Rebecca, comes at her from behind and holds her down like,
Call security.
and so I call security. Security comes up there, detains her. We have to call a code something else. The police ends up having to come. We end up having to sedate homegirl. That was a very interesting first shift at a brand new facility. I'll tell y'all one thing, it took me some time before I picked up a shift there again. I don't want to say I saw my life flash before my eyes, but fight or flight definitely kicked in. I was like, oh shucks, I'm gonna have to whoop somebody's ass. Man. So yeah, Sharon was taken away in a gurney. I'm pretty sure they just took her downstairs to the emergency department. There was a series of questions that both me and the charge nurse Rebecca had to answer. They took they don't even know if they took all the needles. Everything just started making sense. Her laughing at me taking out 2 narcotic medications, one for her, one for me. Laughing at my patient's spouse saying that his mother was in the hospital. Her just thinking everything is funny, being gone for almost 2 hours. Y'all, you just cannot trust anybody. But those signs were some sincere, telltale signs. I don't know. I had hope in Sharon. Sharon helped me out. So I was trying to keep the hope alive. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, make sure that you guys subscribe if you want some more interesting, juicy stories about my life. Make sure you share a story of your own, whether it be from nursing, dating, nursing school, something spooky, whatever it is. Just share it with me and I'll do my darndest to turn it into a StoryTime video. And while you're at it, take a look at my literary masterpieces. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
Say